I think someone just left a puppy out there, I nearly shouted, slamming my coffee cup onto the dashboard hard enough to startle my brother in the passenger seat. The car swerved slightly on the empty interstate before he steadied the wheel, his eyes wide with confusion as he followed my frantic finger pointing toward the dim glow of a gas station we'd just passed. My heart hammered like a drum in my chest. Just seconds earlier, I'd seen it, a tiny, trembling bundle of fur curled up alone on the cracked concrete, right beside the pumps where a truck had pulled away moments before. The night air outside was biting cold, the kind that nips through your jacket and freezes your breath the second it leaves your lips. And the thought of that fragile creature abandoned in the dark, left behind like forgotten trash, twisted my stomach into knots. We'd been driving for hours, heading home from visiting friends in Oklahoma, on a stretch of highway so empty it felt like the whole world had gone to sleep. I was exhausted, mentally checked out, just waiting to get home. But the image of that puppy jolted me awake like a bucket of ice water. "Turn around," I insisted, my voice higher than I'd expected, hands gripping the seatbelt, like it might vanish. My brother looked at me, confused, concerned, but didn't argue. He just took the next exit without another word, looping back toward that lonely gas station. As we retraced our path, my mind kept circling back to that truck. Who were they? Where were they going? And how could anyone just drive off and leave something so small, so helpless, behind in the cold? When we finally rolled back into the gas station, the place was nearly deserted. The flickering fluorescent lights cast long, eerie shadows across the empty lot. My breath fogged the window as I scanned every corner, my chest tight with dread. And then I saw him, still there, curled up near a rusted trash can, head barely lifting as our headlights washed over him. I threw open the car door before my brother had even parked, my sneakers slamming against the rough pavement as I rushed over. The puppy didn't run. He didn't even flinch. He just looked up at me with the saddest, most uncertain eyes I'd ever seen, as if he couldn't decide whether I was here to hurt him or help him. I knelt slowly, heart breaking at the sight. He couldn't have been more than 6 weeks old. Thin, matted fur, ribs visible beneath his coat, body trembling from the cold and exhaustion. "Hey there, little one," I whispered, holding out my hand. He sniffed cautiously, then let me scoop him up. The moment he was in my arms, he let out the tiniest whimper and pressed his face into my jacket, like he finally felt safe. My brother stood beside me, shaking his head in disbelief. "Someone really just left him here?" I nodded, holding the puppy close, feeling his rapid little heartbeat against my chest. We searched the lot for any sign of the truck, any clue that the owners might be inside. But there was nothing. Just silence, the hum of the neon sign, and the two of us standing in the cold, with a life that had just been tossed away, like it didn't matter. We wrapped him in an old blanket from the back seat and carried him to the car. He curled into the warmth instantly, eyes heavy with exhaustion, but no longer trembling. On the drive home, I held him in my lap, fingers gently stroking his fur, making silent promises I knew I'd keep. "You'll never be alone like this again. You'll never wonder if someone's coming back for you. You're safe now." We stopped at a late-night diner an hour from home. The smell of coffee and bacon filled the air as I carried him inside, cradled like something precious. A kind waitress brought water in a bowl and scraps of chicken. "On the house," she said, her eyes soft with understanding. He ate slowly at first, as if he didn't trust the food would last. But with every bite, his body relaxed a little more. At a 24-hour supermarket, We bought everything we could think of: puppy food, a soft blanket, the tiniest collar and leash, a squeaky bone. My brother joked that we'd gone from road trippers to puppy parents in under an hour. But beneath the laughter, I saw the same resolve in his eyes that I felt in my own. Neither of us was letting this little soul go. That night, I slept on the living room floor beside the couch where he lay curled up, just so he wouldn't wake up alone. And when morning came, sunlight streaming through the curtains, I opened my eyes to find him still there, peaceful, calm, no longer afraid. He stretched his tiny paws, blinked up at me, and pressed his nose into my palm, like he was saying, "I trust you." We took him to the vet that same day. She confirmed he was underweight, dehydrated, far too young to be on his own, but otherwise healthy. "Someone failed him," she said gently. "But you didn't." Days turned into a new rhythm. Morning walks in the yard, training sessions on the living room floor, evenings curled up together on the couch, his tiny body warm against my leg. He learned to sit, to come when called, to signal when he needed to go outside. And with every small victory, his confidence grew. The timid pup who once flinched at sudden movements became a joyful, playful friend who greeted every sunrise like it was a gift. Our neighbor Carol stopped by often, bringing homemade treats and a hand-knit blanket. "Puppies choose their families," she'd say with a knowing smile. And I believed her. Because it didn't feel like we'd rescued him. It felt like he'd rescued us, pulling us out of routines that had grown stale, filling our home with laughter we hadn't heard in years, reminding us what it meant to care deeply about another living soul. We took him to the park, to the lake, on hikes through the woods. Strangers stopped to admire him, to hear his story, and every time we told it, their faces softened. They'd scratch behind his ears or let him lick their hands, and I could see it. This little dog wasn't just healing. He was healing everyone he met. One afternoon, Carol brought over a small engraved tag, blank, waiting for a name. We still hadn't chosen one. Nothing felt big enough, meaningful enough, for a creature who had already survived so much. But then one morning, as he bounded across the yard chasing butterflies, my brother looked at me and said, "He's not just a pup anymore. He's ours." And in that moment, I knew. His name wasn't something we'd pick. It was something we'd earn. And maybe, just maybe, it would come to us when the time was right. Weeks turned into months. His fur grew thick and glossy. His legs got stronger. He stopped flinching at loud noises and started barking protectively when strangers passed by. He slept through the night now, curled up in his own bed. But every morning, without fail, he'd pad into my room and nudge my hand until I woke up. One quiet evening, as we sat on the porch watching fireflies blink in the dusk, my brother said, "Do you ever think about how close we came to just driving past?" I looked down at the puppy asleep at our feet, his chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm, and shook my head. I don't want to imagine it. We took him back to the gas station once, not to dwell on the past, but to say goodbye to it. He walked calmly beside us, tail wagging, nose to the ground, curious but unafraid. He didn't remember the fear. He didn't need to. Because now, wherever he went, he knew he was loved. He knew he was home. And that's the miracle of it all. One choice, to turn around, to stop, to care, changed everything. Not just for him, but for us. He taught us that love isn't grand gestures or perfect timing. It's showing up when no one else will. It's staying when it's easier to walk away. It's whispering, "You're safe now. and meaning it with every fiber of your being. Today, he runs through fields with his head high and his tail flying like a flag of joy. He greets neighbors by name, curls up between us on movie nights, and still brings his favorite toy to my bedroom door every morning like it's a sacred ritual. He's not the broken little creature we found in the dark. He's whole. He's happy. He's home. And as I watch him nap in a sunbeam, belly full, paws twitching with dreams of butterflies and sticks and endless adventures, I know this. Turning around that night wasn't just about saving a puppy. It was about saving ourselves. It was about remembering that kindness changes everything. And it was the best decision we ever made.